Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Promise Podcast. And it's me, Ryan Stephen, again. And this is
Samantha Stephen.
Good morning, Samantha Stephen.
Good morning.
I think it's nearly afternoon, but partially a morning.
Yes. We finally made it.
We made it.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And you?
I'm doing amazing. I've recovered from Sunday. Monday was my recovery day, and I'm feeling much better.
Much better. That's good. So tomorrow is going to be a public holiday in South Africa.
Yeah.
And it is voting day. Wow. So people are going to go out and vote on Wednesday morning.
That's correct. And it's quite an important election coming up right now.
Yes, it is. I wonder how many people actually registered to vote, because you actually cannot do that last minute. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Shouldn't they have an option, though, for people to still register to vote? Because it is a very important thing for every citizen to do. And shouldn't they give them an option maybe a few days before to register?
Knowing that South Africans are so last minute in everything that they do.
Basically. I mean, they want them to be organized a month in advance before the voting. And I don't know, I mean, you can book a ticket for anything last minute.
Yeah.
Why can't you just register to vote last minute?
I think it's to avoid maybe the corruption or something like that, or some people taking advantage of the system. That could be one of the reasons.
Okay.
But it is a downer to know that even the voting stats show that voters are going down. The number of people voting is going down. And they could say that is because most people are losing hope in the whole political system.
The nation, the political system. Well, I mean, if you want a future, and if you want a future for your children's children, it would be best to get involved. I mean, having no action at all. I think a lot of people, there was this thing going on about if you don't vote, your vote goes to the most popular party.
Yes.
There was something going on about that online, and that's actually not true.
Yeah,
So
it's not true. You need to vote. You need to vote. You need to go out there and you need to vote in your numbers, because listen, a lot of people paid a price in this nation so that you could vote. So you sitting at home and just enjoying a public holiday, you actually have no say in the future. But when you put your mark, you will have a say in the future because you voted, and you can say, you can complain, you can ask for better things. But if you don't vote, you have no say. So,
yeah, and that's so important. That's so important. I don't think people realize it, that the decisions that you make today are going to affect tomorrow. I think people are always living so in the present tense. That they're not actually thinking about the future, and that they actually... there's going to be repercussions to if you don't vote or who you vote for. So let's get into that.
Yeah, okay.
So who should people vote for? Who are the parties?
Wow, there's such a big change this year, because not only do you have political parties, but you also have independent people running.
Okay.
Candidates, which were permitted by the government, parliament.
So how do you get in? Like, I want to know, if I want to start like a political party, how do I... get a party?
Listen, I don't work for the IEC, but what I do know is that I think people are applying. I think you need a number of support, as well as to get. You have to qualify. You can't just say.
Really?
Okay,
do you have to qualify?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to meet the requirements of the IEC, and then they will say, okay, you qualify to be a party. You have. I don't know what the true requirements. If someone is watching on the comments or whatever, they can let us know. But that's apparently how you had to first qualify.
Really? So I'd like to have a look at that, because I don't know how some people were allowed to be on the ballot. I'm not going to mention any names, but how did they even qualify to get on the ballot again? So that's what I want to know. I want to know what is the standard that that the IEC has put into place for people to actually get on the ballot.
Yeah, so like look at Zuma. Zuma he had to get off the ballot because you can't be having criminal charges, running for president type of thing. So that is a problem. So they took him off the ballot. Other ones, I don't know if it's about also support and what certain criteria that you have to meet. But we do have some weird parties. I mean, this new party, this organic humanic movement.
I saw a board. As we were driving, and it said organic humanitarian something movement.
Yeah.
And I was like, how? How are you opening a party? How are they even allowed on the
Yeah,
ballot?
apparently.
It's like a health party? What is it?
I don't think it's more of this whole organic.
But what is organic farming or organic
It's
food
not a farming. No, it has
got
nothing to do with farming. Or maybe it's got a little bit to do with Dacha, but I don't think it has much to do with farming. Apparently,
Really?
the Dacha party is promoting this. Dacha party is not running, but it is
Okay.
promoting this
Okay.
party. Yeah, to
Okay.
run on the behalf of whatever they believe, and that's that South Africans will do as they please, and it's this whole peace, love, and hope that
It's just like a hippie party,
it's
probably.
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a bit strange.
They
yeah.
said
It's a
that
bit
their
strange.
slogan is "They are the party to end all parties."
Oh my goodness. Is
Yeah.
that their slogan?
I don't know if it's a slogan, but that's what people are using to
To end
define
all
them.
parties.
Yeah, they believe that the whole system, the whole party system, is more like a fight the system. They are calling themselves a resistance.
But I guess people that are quite high believe that they can conquer the world. So
guess
I'm
so.
assuming that that's how they came up with the slogan, the party to end all parties.
I think so.
I guess they
think
feel
so.
like Superman.
Yeah, it's a whole ideology on its own. But
Yeah.
not that I know much of it, but what I do know is quite limited. If you know more about the party, you can put it in the comments as well. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff. And like I said, individual candidates are running as well. We know that Mamane, that guy that used to do the DA, he's running his own.
He was a favorite. He really was a favorite back then, And it's so sad. It's so sad.
What's your opinion about that? Because
Yeah.
I mean, it was really tough what he had to go through with the DA, and
But what did he have to go through? I know there's corruption in every party.
yeah.
There is a lot of things going on. There's lying, there's cheating, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on in every political party.
Yeah, maybe
so
maybe
I'm
he
a bit
realized that.
disappointed.
Yeah, maybe he realized that maybe the so-called party that he was in was not the party that he was actually.
Because I really thought he had a
In-
chance. I really thought, like, initially when he came out,
That
I
he's
really
starting
thought...
his own party, and
No, not when he started his
Oh,
own
oh,
party.
oh.
I think when he was so fiery, when he was in the DA, and he looked like a new leader, a new breed. He had a fire about him. He seemed to have a voice and a push and a drive.
yes,
And then all of a sudden, like, something killed his fire, and he started his own party. I remember it was first called One Movement or something like that. It was called One.
moment or something. One, yeah.
Currently, it's called Bossa, which is Build One South Africa.
Yes, it's kind of a
And-
South African name, right?
But
Bossa.
I haven't seen much like advertising, like the way, the way that EFF and
yeah, it's a lot to do with
NCDA.
funding and backing.
Yeah.
Who's backing it? And
I think it's very sad because, he could have had, a really good party.
hey, but listen, the election is not over, so
Yeah.
we don't know how people are going to vote, and it seems to be kind of a letdown campaign. But I do know that he is running things a bit different. He said it also. A lot of the stuff that's going on is a counter movement.
Yeah.
So it's the South African people saying, listen, I don't really like this party system,
Mm-hmm.
and we are therefore fighting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see more fight though in South Africans.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm seeing around the world.
Mm.
I mean, that amazing president in Argentina, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those ones, and the supporters are so fiery and they're so driven.
Yes.
And there was also another one. I think it was a Dutch. I don't know if it was a Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he got in or what.
Yeah.
But something
But I know they're supporters, and they lead the leader, and was really like a driven leader.
Yes.
And it was really like a like a proactive, someone that's in the crowd. It's like a favorite.
Yes.
They've gathered the crowds. They have, they've really influenced a lot of the younger generation.
Yes, yes.
It was really amazing to see that, the drive in the younger people around the world, and how many actually got involved in politics and got political, and were involved in it, and it was pushing those nations forward. And
Yes, yes.
there was a stirring in that nation.
Yes, yes.
And
that's
I would
true.
say, I would like to see South Africa, I think, get a more fiery leader.
Especially the youth. I mean, the youth are not engaging in that dimension. They're not. I mean, so many youth we know that haven't even registered to vote. And,
Yes.
and you talking about a whole
Come on.
movement of youth, young people,
Yes.
and they are the nation of tomorrow. And if
Yes.
our youth are not, they're not engaging, they're not speaking their mind, they just accepting things for what they are, we are gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully we can see more youth take initiative after this election.
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope that, more people decide to get involved in politics.
Yeah,
I mean, how old is Cyril Ramaphosa right now?
come on.
I think he's maybe 75. I'm not sure if he's 75 or 73. How old is he?
Let me check for you. I
I
know
think
he
so.
is a certain age, but
And so, I mean, when I looked at the ages of the leaders that have been around for maybe the past 40 years, I haven't seen a new breed of a leader come up.
yeah, he's 71.
Wow. So, how long can a party continue with a leader that is, in his latter part of his life?
I think, across the nation, people don't frown on that. I mean, if you have to say, let's go and take a 71-year-old out to a birthday party, it seems like a strenuous event. Yet we trust 70-year-olds to rule the country, and I think it's a mind shift where
That's true, yeah.
I think it's a mind shift where we have to realize that, you know what, young people can run a country.
Yes.
I'm not saying that old people can't, but maybe younger people can make a difference. But I do know that South Africa is fairly a new democracy, so that could be why, there's been. I mean, they had Mbeki doing their trail.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing some, and he's in his 80s. He's 81,
Wow.
and these men are still going strong. They still got everything going together in their minds, and
Okay.
they know how to lie for the political parties and how to.
No, yeah.
uh,
No
so
Alzheimer's. Yeah.
there's none of that there. So it's working, but obviously our country is shifting. We come into a different time, a different season.
I believe so. And I also believe that young people need to get involved in politics.
They do, definitely.
There has to be a new breed of people
Yes.
that are going to get involved and start a party or join a party. And there has to be the next generation coming up. Because, I mean, if that generation right now of political leaders are going to start to die off because, I mean, they're in their prime age,
Yeah.
what's going to happen
I'm telling
if
you.
we see Thabo Mbeki die, if we see
Cyril.
pass away, which is inevitable? What's going to happen for the next couple of years? What's going to happen? Who are we going to look to? Who
Yeah.
does South Africa look to lead a whole nation? And have we been equipped enough for people our age, for people in the younger age groups, even maybe 10 years older than we are? Have they been equipped to run a party?
Yeah.
Have they been equipped to,
I think
lead a nation?
That's the whole thing that, every generation or every nation needs to understand the passing of generations. So we can't just be thinking of, this one-dimensional leadership, but there has to be an imparting from the fathers to the sons. There has to be it from the older to the
the
youth.
younger.
Yeah, to the younger. So that is quite it's an important dimension that our country needs to tap into, because right now we're failing to do that. We are failing to bring new ideas, new innovation, new perspective, new vision quicker to the country.
Yeah.
So if we have a better way to do that, I know that the ANC had the Youth League, and the NC's been through so much.
Yeah. But I mean,
yeah.
that's where Julius Malema came from.
That's it.
Yeah.
And-
And he was like one of those leaders.
And now the splitting of all of that, that's what makes this election so profound. Because now the ANC is practically running against itself. In some cases, EFF is a breakaway. And before this, not every party carried the power to do what EFF has done, what MK have done. Normally when people broke away from the party, it was just like, okay, and they fizzled out, couldn't cope. They just fizzled out, just wasted
Yeah.
a bunch of votes, you know? And people said, oh, so if you leave the ANC, this is how it's... But we see that there is a shift, dramatic dynamics of ideology within the ANC that are splitting apart. So this
Yeah.
could be good. It could be good because the ANC
Pressure.
could be purifying itself.
Maybe they need some pressure.
They need some pressure, yeah. And at the same time, the opposition is also losing ground because the DA is not as comfortable as it used to be. There's talks about the DA losing Western Cape
Sure.
to ANC because
That's
of the
crazy.
Patriotic Alliance and other alliances coming in
Yeah.
who are going after a demographic who's probably been forgotten by the DA.
Yeah.
So, you know, politics is changing and that's
It's
good.
changing,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. You know,
Because I know, like in Zimbabwe, they had a president for a very long time. So I don't think much changed with their political sphere.
you know what makes Zimbabwe different? Yes, they have different tribes and the tribes vote accordingly, but South Africa is like a melting pot. I
Yeah.
mean, we have such a history. Our history is so diverse, so complicated.
Yeah.
It's unique.
It's unique.
So when we're comparing, you know, Zimbabwe to South Africa, and it's totally different ball games, and that's why sometimes we try to bring that ideology here, like what EFF is trying to do. That
Like a
ideology,
dictatorship.
that communistic,
Communism.
Down with America, down, and we don't understand that even though we are part of Africa, and
Yeah.
yes, we are Africans, yeah.
We're
We
just so
have our
different.
own dimension
Yeah.
of problems and mixture
Yeah.
and life and society. So to try a cut and join for this land because of what it's been through and the different diverse cultures that are within it,
Yeah.
all have claim to the land. You know, you
That's
can't
true.
say, oh, this land belonged to the Khoisan. Okay, so now how are we going to go back and let the Khoisan rule the country? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So as South Africans, we have to go beyond color because that's where we're going to find our culture.
So that's, I think, the first point is that people cannot vote according to their color. They have to vote according to principle. They have to vote
Definitely.
according to values.
Yes.
Because South Africa is so diverse. We are so unique.
Yes.
We all like mixed one into another.
Yes.
I don't even think people know if they are fully the race that they are.
Exactly.
Because they're all just so mixed. So, I mean, you can't vote according to your color. You can't. You have to vote according to your values.
Your values. So that is an important thing. What is the value of the nation? What does the nation want to see? And that is an important point. So we need to get over the racial scars. And I know, as hard as it sounds, there is still racism. There is racist systems that are still in place that we are trying to undo.
That's true, yeah.
You know, we're just talking about the healthcare thing that took place.
That
People
took
don't
place, yeah.
understand that this whole health system was built on a racist system. And people don't understand that when we say, oh, the public hospitals just deteriorated
Yeah.
when the ANC took over, it's not actually the case. It
Yeah.
was actually strategized for years before
Yes.
because they knew that the country was shifting
Sure.
and would shift. So there are a lot of systems that are holding our people in poverty and in segregational lines. Even though we are mixing, we can cross the road now. But even in our minds, in ourselves, we are still segregated. We are still apart from each other, divided from each other.
Yeah.
We still have a tendency to group together with each other. We don't see each other as an entire nation together.
Together.
And that's the key to South Africa is unity together.
Unity, yes.
There is no longer black or white or Indian color, and
Yes.
we should not be trying to preserve each other's races.
Yes, that's true.
We should understand that South Africa is for one. Yeah, is for one.
Wow.
So that's the problem that we are sitting with in this nation. But many people are going out to vote tomorrow, and on our side, we just have to say, how do you vote? How would you vote? Us being believers, us being Christian, how do Christians vote? How do we vote to tip the scale of the majority or try to take votes from the majority? So do we play the political system, or do we vote, like you said, according to value?
Yeah.
As Christians, now we as Christians have to talk about how do we vote.
Yes. So we have our own values and your values have to be according to the Bible. You can't have your own personal values.
If you are Christian,
if you are a Christian, if you are a believer, you cannot have, this is like, when they say this is my truth and this is my belief and this is my family.
I think when people say
history
when people say that type of thing, that's just like a escape card. That's my truth. So
Yeah.
it means, okay, so if you don't want to...
So you know what the truth is,
Yeah.
but then you just formulated your own in order for you to sin.
Yeah, so
That's
that
what
you
I
could
think.
feel, medicate yourself.
yeah.
That you're doing the right thing because you believe you're doing the right thing.
It doesn't work
It
like
doesn't
that.
work that way.
So I really believe that if you're going to say that you have values, it has to be according to the Word of God. That's why we have the Word of God. That's why we have the Bible. And people should base their values of what they should believe based on what the Bible says.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many things when you look at the parties, and not all of them have a Christian viewpoint.
Yes.
Not all of the parties have values like we're supposed to be believing in.
Yes.
So I think that, Christians really need to have a look at the parties very carefully.
Yes.
And see what are they voting for? What are they making agreement with? Like we said on Sunday with the message that was preached on Sunday,
Yes.
that voting is not actually a natural thing, but it's a spiritual thing. So whoever you decide to vote for, you're making agreement with. And you basically saying, whatever's theirs is mine, and whatever's mine is theirs.
Yeah.
And you're just basically making a whole exchange with something that could be demonic.
It could be. And it's the worst thing for Christians to have a secular mindset. They believe that politics is apart from God. And they have this mindset where, let's not get God into politics, Yes, I am a Christian, but the chances of me really voting for something Christian is not going to be high. You know, that's how Christians think these days.
Yes.
Because, it's not effective. There's such a small percentage of Christian parties out there to vote for. Why would I support it? My vote is not making any difference.
Yeah, that was
And they don't understand that God does not work with the majority. He doesn't. And that's what people need to understand. Maybe because we've got this big mindset of where we think the more people are, the bigger the crowd is, the more validated something is. But
and that's not how God sees it.
what does the Bible say? It says, broad is the way to destruction,
But narrow, yeah.
but narrow. So it means that God works in narrow ways. If God wants to start a movement, he doesn't start a big movement. He starts a small movement to change the
Yes.
entire nation. That's
Yes.
Jesus was not anybody of significance. He was not a politician. He was not. He was
Yes.
just a traveling minister that
Change the world.
changed the world. So we cannot vote according to the majority. We have to vote according to values.
Yeah.
As Christians, you have to do it. You have
Yeah.
to be able to differentiate what are the values of Christ. Because let's be honest, we don't have any strong Christian cutting edge party out right now. But we do have parties that have Christian values.
So there is a party you can vote for.
Yes.
So a Christian does not have to vote for whatever's popular or whatever's been going on for years and years and years. But there are parties that have Christian values. If you have a look at their manifestos and whatever, and see that, okay, listen, they have the same values. Let me just put in my vote.
According to your belief,
According
your
to your
faith.
belief, according to what you value, and that you can think that that's not going to make a difference, but according to God, you're making a difference because you're making a stand,
That's
and
amazing.
you're making your voice heard.
You know,
So-
I put that thing up on my stories, the ACDP, and how they, because of their influence in Parliament, they were able to stop a bill that was going to pass that would have stopped churches being able to function in schools.
Wow.
That would stop churches.
And that happened like in 1995.
I mean, and we know that, listen, there are so many churches that start in schools.
We started in a
We
school.
started in a school, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that the ACDP were
That they made a
fighting.
difference
They
for
made
the
a difference.
ministries for the ministries of this era.
So for whatever God has called me to do, I need a voice in Parliament that's going to speak the values that I want. And I'm saying that the country is 80%. We're not talking about.
Christian.
We're not talking about. Oh, we want Christendom, and we want to rule the country, and not yet. Yeah, but what we are speaking is that we need a voice. We need a voice. Christians need a voice.
Yep.
And there's certain issues that we need a voice on. There's so many issues: abortion,
Yeah.
so many, the gender problem, schools, what our children going to be taught in school, the sexual education that's going on,
Yes. Yes.
drugs, the war in the Middle
Identity.
East, identity. All of these things need a voice. You need a Christian voice. So even though you might say, oh, it's not going to shift the majority, it's not going to, the voice is getting louder.
And the Bible is the most read book in the entire world.
Yeah.
It's the bestseller.
Yeah.
It is the most read out of any other book in
Yeah.
the world. I mean, so this is something that I believe that majority people would agree with.
Yes.
As long as people are speaking from the Word of God and just, giving revelation from it and telling people what they should believe according to the Word of God, I'm sure a lot of people would have got into a political party and voted for Christian values.
Yeah.
Had it been, preached, had it been, put into parliament and, political party or whatever.
Yeah, we definitely need a voice in our time. And I would encourage people, Christians sit there and they say, no, politics are not for me, and I'm just going to serve God. I'm just going to pray for the nation. You can't pray for the nation and not vote.
You have to action.
You have to action. That's faith without
You're
works is dead.
dead, yeah.
That is such a poor mentality to have, where I'm going to sit in a room and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. And that's the culture that we have in the church. We're going to sit and pray and pray and pray, and then we're never going to vote. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You got to take the supernatural and put it in the natural.
hey, that's what you got to do. But yeah, so go out there in your numbers and vote for what you truly believe in. Stand for Christian beliefs. No matter what Christian party you vote for, see which one you agree with, because you can't, remember, voting is a spiritual thing. You can't put your covenant, the X, we spoke about it on Sunday, the X is actually a letter in the Hebrew. It's the word Tev, yeah? It's the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It starts with Aleph and it ends at Tev. When the Bible says that God says he's the Alpha and Omega, it means he's the beginning and the end. He's actually speaking about the alphabet. And Tev is the last letter, and the sign of Tev is an X. And,
Wow.
and back in the day, what the X would symbolize was the exchanging of a covenant. So you take what is mine and I give you what is.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's a transfer.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you voting, you have the ability to actually partner with the values of God or partner with the values of the demonic.
There isn't any like in between.
There's no in between.
And I think
in
that's
covenants.
what people need to realize, because I think they have watered down or what the gospel really is, and I don't
Definitely.
think that they've put it in the category of black and white.
No. So people think, listen, I can make an agreement with anything in my life and it won't affect me. You are who you are in agreement with. The Bible says where 2 or 3 agree on anything, so shall it be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it means that even if you agree on iniquity, so shall it be.
Sure.
So you have to watch what you agree with in this season. And it's not about parties, it's not about politics. For a Christian, it is about values. It's about values. So that's what we're trying to emphasize on, is that make sure that your value system is in check And prophetically, it is very important for this nation that you, as a Christian, are in line with the correct values.
That's true.
That's true.
Hmm.
So, are you ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote.
Like tomorrow, like not now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so don't take
So
a
get
public
out
holiday.
there, vote. Those that have registered to vote, go out there and I think really think about it and ask the Holy Spirit who you should go for, who should you vote for, and that it is going to make a difference.
It's going to make a difference.